Good.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a special That UFO podcast where we are continuing the hearings fallout from yesterday's UAP hearing in Congress. And joining me once again on the podcast is someone who was at those hearings asking questions, Congressman Tim Burchett. Tim, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, brother. It's always a pleasure.
Good to have you on. I know it's early where you are, so fresh off of yesterday's hearings, we're less than 24 hours removed. Let me ask, what are your thoughts the day after?
I understand everybody's frustration. A lot of questions were asked that they were not allowed to ask because of confidentiality and things like that. But I think that, to me, that just reiterates the fact that we need disclosure. And I have confidence in President Trump and our conversations that we've had, and that he will help us get to the bottom of this issue. Because I believe without the executive office's support, this won't happen. And you know as well as I do, in the past, presidents have basically been denied, but those presidents weren't Donald J. Trump. Trump doesn't really care about protocol or any of that stuff. I think he actually does trust the American people, and he's not arrogant enough to believe that they couldn't handle what is ultimately the truth.
Now, are you frustrated that yesterday went the way it did, or did you expect that?
I 100% expected that. People traveled all over the country, and think they're going to bring out something, bring out an alien craft or a being or a pictures or material or something thereof. And I just knew they wouldn't. I knew the people that were there. I felt like some of them would if they had the opportunity to, but that was not the opportunity. We've got to get very aggressive on this issue. But again, they'll just keep dodging us. It'll just be peeling back another layer of the onion until we have somebody in that executive office that thinks like you and I do, that thinks that we deserve to know, honestly.
Has there been a lot of follow-up off the back of last year's hearing where David Grush said all the things he said? What's kind of happened there? Because it seems there's been a bit of a vacuum or void, publicly at least.
Eventually, we're going to have to get David Grush into a skiff. We've got to figure out a way around that. They blocked us every avenue, and I think that I would like to see a couple of those folks in the skiff, gloves off, so they can tell us everything they know. And then I think you would see a lot more people in Congress become believers, if you will, because there's still a lot of them that doubt any of it. They joke about it, and they joke with me about it. And Burchett, I can't believe you're dealing with this, but the reality is we're spending tens of millions of dollars on something that the federal government says does not exist. And don't you? And everybody agrees that we ought to at least know that. And for them to keep telling us they don't exist, and then they keep spending the money, and they have these departments that are specifically aligned with the thought process that there's extraterrestrial life out there. I just think that we owe it to ourselves and the American people to get to the bottom of it.
Tim, can you tell me in the audience who it was brought the Immaculate Constellation documents to Congress to be submitted for public record?
Yeah, well, Jeremy Corbell actually had brought those to me earlier, and then there was, see, I'm not the chairman, and there was discussion earlier of a discussion in that one of the members on the dais, and his name escapes me right now. Like you said, it is early, but that he was the one who brought it. So there's going to be but Corbell is the one who originally brought it to me over a month ago.
Chairman Nancy Mace said during the hearing it was Schellenberger who brought it along.
Yeah,
and
Schellenberger. That's the guy's name.
Yeah. That's the one. It's much later for me, don't worry. And I noticed when you got your 5 minutes, you immediately referenced Jeremy as the one who brought the documents along. Can you go into why that happened exactly, or is there a reason for it?
I don't know. There was some security issue. Apparently, that's what they explained to me. But it's above my pay grade again. I will never be allowed to be chairman of one of these committees. I'm convinced, because I don't play that game. First of all, I don't raise enough money. I don't have a lot of billionaires that I represent that allow me to raise money. And that's the crooked game of Congress. Both parties are in on it. And the press is in on it, frankly. They ought to expose this every day. But to become chairman of a committee, you have to raise so much money for your conference or your party. And you're issued a bill. Mine is relatively low because I don't have those people. But to me, it's just a pay to play situation. And I think that's wrong. And I think it's corrupt. And that's, and so I'm not saying disparaging things about Miss Mace or anything, but I don't have those capabilities. And, you got to kiss a lot of butt to become chairman and raise a lot of money. And I don't do a good job of either one of those, obviously.
I can appreciate that. It's important to keep the facts right, definitely. So I appreciate the answer. Something else that's came up online is that there was a 12-page document submit. 11 pages have appeared online. Do you know why we don't have the 12th page and what that is?
I don't. I'll look into that. That's the first I've heard about that, but I'll find out.
Yeah, it's just the 11 pages, but obviously it was definitely 12. So that's something I think people are starting to ask online. Regarding the witnesses, was that lineup of 4, Schellenberger, Elizondo, Gallaudet, and Gold, was that the original hopes for your witnesses, or did you have others in mind?
I had some others in mind, and they were passed over. Again, the corrupt nature of Congress. You've got a staff that really runs these committees, and they have way too much power. And they decide legislation. A lot of times it's going to go through the committee and therefore will pass. And I worry that the lobbyists have too much access to these staff members. And to me, that's just, and that's criminal. When I was in the legislature in Tennessee, every bill gets heard, every dadgum bill. And why is that we don't do that anymore? Because the way we don't do it at all is because lobbyists grease people, and that's the way it works. And that's crooked, and we need to change it.
So you introduced a UAP Whistleblower Protections Act on the 12th of November, the day before the hearing. Can you just mention how important you feel that would be to pass and what that could achieve?
Yeah, they need protection. These guys come forward, Grush. I mean, he comes forward and they try to destroy him. And these others, I'm sure they'll find their second grade girlfriend or somebody that sat beside them in study hall and said they had anarchist thoughts or something. It's just, they're just brutal. And they call it a swamp, but DC is really a sewer, is contaminated with those kind of folks. And I think that's why Trump scares them so much, because he's not from this, and he wants to bring in Vivek and Elon to clean it up. And frankly, I think it needs a good cleaning. Everybody wants to, they want to pick and choose in the trash can what they want to take out, and what it really needs is somebody to turn it upside down with a garden hose and blow it out. And that's what Trump, I think, will do.
Just want to finish up. Obviously, a lot of the frustration from Nancy Mace, Anna Paulina Luna, yourself, and others were around the answers coming back about having to answer in skiffs or behind closed doors. Have any of those skiffs happened yet, or do you even expect them to happen, given you've said that it's been over a year since Grush spoke?
Yeah,
and you've not managed to get Grush yet?
No, I don't think they will. We might get some in there, but they're so sanitized by the time we get them. And some bureaucrat, some arrogant jerk with a man bun in there trying to tell me this, I don't know what I'm talking about, with his arrogant little smirks and smiles. And then when we ask him about specific things that we know about, they tell us that they don't have the data on that. And clearly they're very compartmentalized and arrogant, and that's a dangerous combination.
Do you believe anyone under oath would lie, particularly about the UAP topic?
I do. I worry about, spooks. I'm pretty sure there were a couple in the room with us, like that's what your CIA or somebody like that. I knew there were some NASA officials in the room yesterday. I worry, and I worry because people come in my office, not every day, but they would if I allowed them, but every week or month or so, and they bring me some new hot information. And that information, I got no way to verify it or not, but if I come forward with it and it turns out it's a hoax, then that just discredits me and discredits the whole operation. And that's probably the reason I'm not chairman or won't be a chairman of one of these committees, because they know I'm a little smarter than that. And I mean, I've got my bookcase over here is full of books people have brought me on the topic, and people bring me stuff all the time, pictures and stories and things. But I don't know if they're telling me the truth or not. And so until I could verify it, I just sit on it, because it's not going to do the movement any good.
What's next?
Maybe they'll allow them to sell a few more books or T-shirts or something, but I'm not going to be the one marketing it for them.
No, fair enough. And what's the next steps in from here?
Well, I hope gathering information, and more folks will come forward if I can get this whistleblower thing passed. And now it's going to be on Trump. Really, I need him to follow through with this thing. And he's got some people around him that are believers. So I think that's going to help. I think that will help.
Well, thank you very much for joining me early in your day, just getting started, just after the hearings. And again, thank you for the work you've put into getting these up and running as well.
Thank you, brother.